and then enter those credentials.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming down so quickly to fix everything.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so whenever you do switching here, it's about 2 or 3 second delay. It could be up to like 30 seconds. So no, just be patient. The more you push the button, the longer it'll take. Just push the button and wait. If you have to go through a whole switch, it's 10 off the phone.
I got your number. You better answer.
All right, let me call Mr. Cox. All right, could I have the parties on Raul Ramos, please? Court is calling 2022 CR 5311, State of Texas versus Raul Ramos Jr. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
John Pettis for defense.
Are you Mr. Ramos?
Yes, I am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Ramos, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
Next, I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Ramos, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, I did.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights? I need you to speak up.
Yes, yes, sorry.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand that the court would grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, I did.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Judge.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramos, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No,
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
very satisfied.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, I did.
According to the plea bargain agreement, there's a $500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication, and there's to be restitution to SAPD for drug testing. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, I did.
Defense?
Yes, Judge.
State?
Yes,
Showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
yes, I did.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, I did.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, I did.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No, no.
State any evidence to support the
Yes, Your Honor.
defendant's plea?
State Exhibit number 1 with all this attachments.
No objection, Judge.
All right, Mr. Ramos, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, I did.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, I did.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding you guilty as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, we just asked that you follow the agreement.
All right, Mr. Ramos, who is Amber Williams?
That's my wife.
All right. Do you all have any children?
No, she just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you have any children?
I had one when I was,
And how old is that child?
he's 21.
21. All right, how did your wife pass?
Congestion heart failure
All right,
due to osteopathy.
and you mix drugs with that, that's not a good combination.
This was a hard year. I lost my brother to the same day. I lost my wife and my brother at the same time.
Well, maybe that's a sign for you
Of course,
to change your life. How often are you using meth?
I was using it on and off throughout the week, kind of just to cope with things.
Hmm,
You know, I mean,
sorry, you're gonna have to speak up.
Oh. I was, on and off, just to kind of, thought it was helping me get through, like, this, but really actually making it worse,
Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. You are not using drugs to cope with your wife's death or your wife's issue because you were using drugs before then. You were not using drugs to cope with your brother's death because he passed after this. So let's pretend like you haven't told me anything. We're going to start over. We're going to start with truth because I'm inclined to accept the agreement that you have, but you need to be honest with me. When I place people on probation, I want them to be successful. I take no joy in sending people to prison, but I'm sure your attorney will tell you that I will send people to prison. So I'm trying to see what your issues are. If there is some sort of condition that we can give you that will help you be successful. I don't do cookie cutter probations. Everybody has some different conditions because we're dealing with individuals. So let's start over. We're going to pretend like this is us just talking for the first time. So how often are you using meth before you were taken into custody?
I was using it daily.
Daily. All right. Were you using anything other than meth?
No,
All right.
oh, yeah.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated.
So you graduated from high school, and what have you been doing since that?
I worked for the SANTUAN Housing Authority for 24 years. Then I worked for San Antonio Review for 6 years.
Mhm.
And then after that, it just turned to a downward spiral.
So if you're released today, where are you going to be staying?
I'll be at my parents.
Do your parents want you there?
Yes, they,
And when I asked you that, did you pick up the phone and ask them, can I stay with you?
no.
So we don't know if they want you there.
Mom was the one who hired me and she wants him home.
All right. So sometimes parents can be enablers. So I'm telling you right now, you are not going to be doing drugs at your parents' house. You are not going to be bringing people over to your parents' house without their permission. And I tell people this all the time because I've had experience with it in my family. If your parents give you a curfew, that's your curfew. Sometimes parents, they want the TV off at 10. If they want the TV off at 10, you can't complain about that because that's not your house. You follow their rules. If you want to stay up till midnight, if you want to come in the house at all times of midnight, after midnight, or have a bunch of people over, then you need to get your own place. Do not be bringing your friends over to their home. You understand? In order to be successful with sobriety, they say you have to change people, places, and things. And people will always tell me that's an easy thing to do, and it's not. I know it's hard because who do you know who's not using drugs? Mr. Brooks, Attorney Brooks, who's with Felony Drug Court, will tell you, they tell them all that time, people, places, and things. And I used to think that was easy for people to do when I worked in drug court. But then when I thought about it, I thought that if people were to tell me to change people, places, and things and say, Stephanie, we want you to start hanging out with people who use drugs. I'd be like, okay, where do I meet these people? How do I get in with them? And so with you, you have to start being around people who are clean and sober. And so you have to start all over. How am I going to meet these people? What do we do? What do we do in our spare time? All right, this is what the court is going to do. And what I'm about to do to you is not a punishment, but I need to make sure that you're clean and sober. It's going to be a $500 fine that will be probated. 3 years deferred adjudication. I'm going to want a referral to felony drug court. And that'll be while you're in custody. What I can tell you is felony drug court, they have somebody come over and evaluate you very quickly. We're at Wednesday, Mr. Brooks. Felony drug court, since we're in the middle of the week, I'm assuming you probably won't be able to evaluate him till next week. Is that about right?
So they're doing staffing day and then work Thursday and Friday, so that's next.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll send an email over to them. If nobody has any objection, I'll send an email to felony drug court personnel to let them know that I want you interviewed. Okay. And you need to be honest with them. So don't say, well, not really. You just told me you were using daily. You need to let them know you are using daily and that you want help. If they have room for you, they will accept you. It's a hard program, but it's what you need because I'm sure your parents don't want to deal with another child passing. All right. And maybe you can end up being back in your child's life. So we're going to do a referral to felony drug court while in custody. We'll do a TAP evaluation. And Vashawn, if the referral to felony drug court is happening sooner to TAP, then he can do TAP out of custody. But if you miss that TAP appointment while you're out of custody, a motion to revoke is going to be issued and you're going to be back at the jail. You understand? I'm going to want proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular UAs by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Probation, if felony drug court accepts him, then felony drug court will be in charge of your probation. The only time you'll come back to me is if they're saying we can't help him and they're kicking you out, or they're saying he's been successful, will you show up for his graduation? And I will tell you, everybody who graduates from the programs I send them to, I always carve out a time to show up for that. And then we're going to do 120 hours of community service restitution. I'm not going to waive those hours because I think you need to stay busy. And there is to be restitution to SAPD for lab testing. And if felony drug court doesn't accept him, follow the recommendations of TAP. If TAP recommends inpatient treatment, we'll start with intensive outpatient treatment. So either way, it's going to be intensive outpatient treatment. Could you mute me for a moment, please? Sabotage him.
I was gonna say, it's his baby blue ties.
It is. It's the blue. It's the blue. Okay. All right. So restitution to SAPD for laboratory testing, and then probation if the TAP recommends inpatient treatment or just outpatient treatment. I want to start him with intensive outpatient treatment, no matter what. Probation, is there anything else he needs? All right. Is there anything else you need for me to be successful?
Your help.
All right. If in this court, your attorney will tell you communication is key. If there's something that you need, ask probation. If you feel that probation is not addressing your issues, we're here Monday through Friday. Well, Monday through Thursday usually. But I'm here Monday through Friday. Yeah. I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. If you review that with your attorney, did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you, Mr. Ramos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Brooks,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cox is going first. And it appears that he is proceeding with jury trial. All right, so if you have that document for me to sign,
I will prepare and I will watch the video.
oh, no problem. All right.
It's just,
Oh, no problem.
there's some additional discovery that Mr. Brooks brought to my attention on the
Okay.
case that may be missing. I haven't checked it yet, but I told him, he's given me a note, and so we will be on top of that.
All right, Caroline, can I see the files on Abelardo Torres? And stay, when do you think you'll have that additional discovery? Because I'll just put it on the docket for discovery. And then we'll decide on a jury trial date on the date of the discovery.
Okay. I believe from what he gave to me, it might be a report.
So in the offense report, I have it lists another offense report,
Mhm.
an offense report number. And that's specifically the offense report from the booking for my client. And there's some ballistics that reference that offense report as well, but I don't have that booking offense report.
Okay.
So it shouldn't.
So I guess it's kind of like the actual report probably shouldn't take that long, but if there's ballistics. They may, I don't know if the ballistics were actually done. That's what the
They
question.
were done.
Okay.
Yes, that's the other. They
Okay,
were done on one of the cases.
okay. So I just gotta hunt that down. So,
All right, so this is what we'll do. I'm gonna have this recalled for May 22nd. Is that enough time?
oh,
And I think you all are not on jury trial that week, so we'll bring it back on May 22nd for discovery.
thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And Caroline, that's coming back on the 22nd. You know, I don't know why all court reporters don't use CaseNet. I love this
Do
one.
you?
Oh, yeah, the other one, I'm like,
It's what we were introduced to in school, and then we just stick with it because it's hard to change.
okay.
I don't look up there, something about it on there too. It might help. Because I'll be doing something over there that they,
All right, can you do a testing?
Pardon me?
Can you do a testing?
Because you should have gotten my file right away. I shouldn't have to write.
Okay, because it says the court reporter has not started real-time session yet.
May I come up here?
Yes.
I'm gonna, okay. Is this the one?
Yes. Oh, we don't use that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which one, Judge?
Wow, Cornelius, hi.
Great. Oh, so you downloaded the app?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I changed
you did?
that to yours.
Can you do it again?
Sure. Ah,
All caps. Not do you.
let's see. Okay.
3 F4 Wait, let me make sure, because I. Okay, and then 307G altogether.
Okay. You don't have to put all that. Okay. Oh, thank you. Yay, we made it. All right, to everyone who's here, Rodney Green, Mary Diaz, you're all going to have to wait outside and you're not excused until the court speaks to your attorney. So you might want to call your attorneys.
Okay. Are you here for? I don't know. Judge, I've got the discovery acknowledgement.
Okay, thank you.
Y'all can put it in your file if boss comes by.
All right, thank you.
If we don't sign them, I don't know about that. But I can like. I'll read it. And we're. When they want to remember, I can write it.
State, are you all doing this one witness rule thing with this?
Judge, I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I've been told that it's not your favorite.
No.
Question.
Well, you know what I always tell people, if you're gonna do a one witness rule, then call one witness. Somebody said they had a one witness and it was a murder case. And so I jokingly told them, well, who's the one witness you calling? Is it just the Emmy? Choose wisely.
Oh, gosh.
You shouldn't say that.
Last night, Judge,
Mhm.
I added a couple of slides. Are you, is it 45 minutes? on the top?
Yes.
Will you please give me like a
I'll be back here.
5-minute one?
Yes.
Thank About Judge an 8-minute warning.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
All right, each side has 45 minutes. Court is calling.
45 minutes?
Yes. Court is calling 2019 CR 4004B, State of Texas versus Santuan Wilson. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Lindsay Shop at the state.
Danny was for the state.
Defense?
Scott for the defense.
Are you Mr. Wilson? All right, so it's the court's understanding that the charge in this case is aggravated robbery. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And my understanding is that Mr. Wilson, if he were found guilty, he would come to the court for punishment. Is that correct?
That's great.
All right. Are both parties ready to proceed with jury selection, state,
State's ready.
defense?
We're ready.
Okay.
My only objection is that the court has announced that we have only 45 minutes total.
Yes. 45 minutes each side.
Just recognize, I don't feel that's enough time.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the time is adequate. At first, returning, my client is subject to life in the penitentiary, and my position, Judge, is that uh, 45 minutes for, see, what I got, 75 jury. I think that's adequate time.
Okay.
Yeah, to 45 minutes.
All right, each side has 45 minutes. Are we ready to bring the jurors in?
They're not here.
They're here yet.
They're doing their swearing and everything downstairs. They're not here yet.
Oh, okay. We will wait for the jurors.
No, wait.
They don't have.
This is
packets yet.
yesterday's.
Okay.
In addition to that, Judge, I don't know, last time we were here, the court said, I was on the impression, in my practice here, is that I get a chance to see them before I ask for shuffle. I think last time we were here, the court said that I have to shuffle before.
All right, everybody has 45 minutes. Can we please have the jury brought up? Is that possible? Let's do that. Thank you.
So I mean, if I need. And I just.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Guys. Only. I can even bring them in and I look at it.
She's
Just
to be sure.
Yeah, I'm hovering.
She's using it.
I don't have to interrupt.
Where they're at.
Just want to see what's taking the jurors. Why it's taking them so long,
Might
please?
keep it turned.
Oh, thank you. You don't want to?
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Address the jury.
Oh, yeah, I'll speak up and I'll walk around and
I don't want to.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'm gonna always look at you.
Hey, the county pays good
That's what I
cents for
normally
that.
do. I look at you just to make sure that I'm okay.
You
All right, no problem.
They just, they pop.
Oh, one time that hurt like a son of a bitch. One of them just snapped on me and she's like, oh,
Yeah, y'all signed discovery, right?
Last time, so I don't know if there's anything.
We haven't
else.
added anything.
I'll just update it just to be safe.
Mike's piece.
Yeah, that one.
The ones.
Someone on?
No, will be.
Oh.
They will be. They're off right now.
I'm actually gonna turn this the other side so I can see it. That way.
You can turn it how you like, girl. This is your performance. That's what I said.
Here's my pictures.
Then do you need a mic so you can be loud?
I don't think so. No.
Just start yelling.
No,
You can practice.
I don't know. Keep that away from me.
I think you need it.
Okay, thank you.
Bashan,
Yes, Sharon.
there is something wrong with this. This driving while intoxicated that you sent me. Can you mute us, please? I'm gonna take it. A tree died.
Take the thick ones.
All right, and for some reason, yes. Thank you for remembering the video, Caroline. Are we ready?
Yes, there was a substitute, I think 64.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, let's bring them in.
Right. First row, inside the jury box, you have the numbers are on this. And then the next row. Next row on top. The number one, are you saying one? Okay, number one is. Eight. Next row, man. Have a seat. Next row. Thirty. $42. 42. 43. Yeah, you'll be using their numbers.
All right, everyone, please step forward. All right, state and defense, are you both ready to proceed?
The state's ready,
We're ready to.
All right. All right, everyone. Good morning. We're almost at the afternoon hour. This is the 187th District Court. I'm Judge Boyd. You're on the 4th floor of the courthouse. So, which court are you in? What floor? And who's the judge? All right, see, someone there in the check did the whole name. Thank you. She's going to be the top one today. I can feel it. The reason why I asked that question and have everyone repeat it is because sometimes we take breaks. And when we take breaks, everyone has to leave the courtroom. And then when we come back into the courtroom, sometimes we have people who don't come back. And when we try to find them, sometimes they're down the hallway trying to be selected on another jury. Sometimes they tell me, they're like, I looked up and everybody was gone. So if you ever look up and everybody is gone, You know the name of the court, you know which floor you're on. And if all else fails, if you just tell them you're in Judge Boyd's court, they'll be able to tell you where it is because I'm the only Judge Boyd in the entire courthouse. To my left, I have the court reporter. If you can raise your hand for them so they can see you. All right. So court reporter has an important job. And I am a firm believer in making everybody's job as easy as possible for them. So to make her job easier, I need everyone to make sure that you talk loudly so she can hear, because she has to take down everything that everyone says. And if you can imagine, some people have accents, some people speak slowly, some people speak quickly. So let's make her job easy. The other thing that I need you to do to make her job easy is only speak one person at a time. So there are going to be questions that are going to be asked of you. Don't anticipate what you think. Thank you. Don't anticipate what you think the answer is. Wait till they finish their question, then answer it. That way she can take down what everybody is saying. In your possession, you have white cards. Those cards are very expensive. If you can hold those cards up, please hold them up for me. All right, you may lower the cards. So whenever there is something that you want to respond to make it easy for everybody else to know that you want to respond to that, just raise that card and they'll call you by your number. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. So far, no jury has been able to do this, but I have faith in this jury panel. So everyone who's in the box, raise your card. Everyone on this front row, raise your card. Nope, just the front row. All right. So the people who do not have your cards raised, whenever you speak, you're going to have to stand if you can so that the court reporter can hear you because the acoustics are bad. So if your card was not raised at that time, you're going to need to stand. Does everyone understand? Is everybody going to get an A on that today? Okay, see the person in the front row, he's like, no, it's not going to happen, but we're going to try it. I will tell you, there has not been a single jury panel that's have been able to follow that instruction. So I want to have the parties introduce themselves to you for the state.
Hi, I'm Daniel Escobar.
And good morning, my name's Lindsay Shaw.
And for the defense.
Cornelius Cox, SANTUAN Wilson.
Right. So you all have had a chance to view all of those parties. Does anyone recognize any of the parties that have just introduced themselves to you? Right. Number 15. All right, number 15, who do you know?
SANTUAN.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? And just so everyone knows, I'm trying to follow the rules because I'm originally from Louisiana, so I've never had any allergies before, but now I do. So I have to take allergy tablets, and if I don't drink a lot of water, they say that's not a good thing. So I drink a lot of water, at least I try to. All right. So the charge in this case is aggravated robbery. I'm going to talk to you about that charge a little bit when I come back to you. But when the state and the defense speak to you, they are going to be speaking to you about hypotheticals. Neither the state nor the defense can tell you what they think the facts are in this case. So whenever they're talking to you, it's not about this specific case. So don't start thinking in your mind, oh, they're asking me a question and it's about the specific case. It's not. They're not allowed to do that. Does everyone understand? Now, the way a case comes to felony court for trial is through what's called an indictment. And I'm going to have you practice with your cards. How many people here have had a traffic ticket before? All right, there are a couple who have not, or either you're just being shy. I've had one before in my lifetime. And when I got my ticket, it was so many years ago, they still had the paper that they would have, the paper notebook, and they write it down. So in San Antonio, what I've discovered is sometimes people don't know what the yield sign is for. And people have been ignoring the school zones. But let's say an officer were to pull you over and they say you ran a red light or you committed some type of traffic violation. So when they pull you over, they give you a ticket. And on that ticket, it tells you, this is what I'm saying that you did. And this is where you need to go to answer for that charge. And usually it's like you're going to municipal court on Frio or some other municipal court in San Antonio. Well, when the officer gives you that ticket and you accept that ticket, you're not saying, oh yeah, you're right, I did run this red light or I did commit a traffic offense. That's just notice to you of what you're charged with. It's not an evidence of guilt at all. It cannot be considered in any form or fashion as something that can be held against you. Does everyone understand? So an indictment is the same way. An indictment is just to let somebody know, this is what we're accusing you of. This is the courtroom you need to be, and this is where you need to be. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Is there anyone here who's going to hold it against Mr. Wilson because he's been indicted? Okay. All right. Next thing I want to talk to you is certain constitutional rights that everyone has. How many people have seen Mannix, Barnaby Jones? Oh, thank you. Other people pretending like they're not old enough. They know. Loretta, Paper Chase, The Practice. Thank you. All right. So anyway, there are certain rules. The right to remain silent. Everybody, I hope everyone's heard of that before. Is there anyone who hasn't heard of that? So right to remain silent, that just means that you don't have to testify against yourself. Nobody can call you to testify against yourself. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Now, a lot of times people want to be like Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched. They're like, well, I want to know what this person would say, and they should say something. Well, that's not the way the law works. You can in your mind say, oh gosh, I would like to hear what this person would have said, but you can't hold it against them. You can't consider it at all in your deliberations. Does everyone understand? Is there anyone who will hold it against Mr. Wilson if he decided not to testify? And I've been a defense attorney, I've been a prosecutor, and I will tell you, there are a whole host of reasons why somebody wouldn't testify. Sometimes people are shy. Sometimes the attorney will say, you don't need to testify, the state didn't prove their case. So there are many, many reasons. Sometimes people stutter. Sometimes people don't like to speak in public. So the main thing though is if someone in a criminal case decides not to testify, you cannot consider it in any form or fashion, and you cannot hold it against them. Does everyone understand? Next thing I want to talk to you about is the burden of proof. In criminal cases, the burden of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Has everyone heard of that? It's not all doubt. It's not beyond a shadow of a doubt like you see some of the programs like Dragnet. That's not what it is. It's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. When I graduated from law school, you felt like a failure if you didn't know that definition and if you didn't have it memorized. I memorized it. I knew it backwards and forward. My first case, I said it. I was so proud of myself for knowing that definition, and I didn't stumble across it. Next jury trial I had, the powers that be decided there is no definition for proof beyond a reasonable doubt anymore. I still know it, but there is no definition. So neither the state nor the defense can give you a definition of proof beyond a reasonable doubt because it does not exist. So as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney, I said, well, how can I explain this to the jury if it doesn't exist? What do I say? And so what I would always tell them to make sure that they knew that this burden was the highest burden there is in the United States was by telling them what it wasn't. So the building that's across the street from us with the green rooftop, which is the historic courthouse, they do civil cases over there. Your car accidents, cases that basically involve money, at least a majority of them. That burden for that type of case is usually preponderance of the evidence, which means more likely than not something happened. In On the criminal side, that's not the burden here. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is a higher burden than that. So on the criminal side, it's not, well, I think maybe, or more likely than not, that's not the burden. So if you find yourself in your mind saying more likely than not, you know that that's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that's civil. Now, the other burden that's on the other side, it's what's called clear and convincing evidence. Clear and convincing evidence is the burden that's used when you're terminating someone's parental right. When you're saying, can't trust you with your children, you're no longer legally going to be their parents. That burden is a lower burden than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest burden that we have in this country. Does everyone understand? Now, the burden of proof. Who has the burden in this case? The state. The state has to prove its case, each element, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Does everyone understand? The burden never shifts to the defense. So if you in your mind at some time say, well, the defense should have brought A, B, and C, then you know that you shifted the burden. Defense does not have to bring any evidence in this case. Does everyone understand? We would always say in school, the defense could do crossword puzzles. I guess now they could play Candy Crush or Diner Dash. I don't think they're going to be doing that, but they could because they don't have the burden to prove anything. Does everyone understand? So if at this point in time, you had to enter a verdict in this case, you haven't received any evidence. So what would your verdict be in this case right now? That would be the verdict because you haven't received any evidence. And again, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. Does everyone understand? Now, there is something called, well, before I get to that, there are two phases to every criminal trial in Texas. The first phase, people call it the innocence phase, but it's really not the innocence phase. Phase one, you're determining whether someone is guilty or not guilty, whether the state proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt or not. That's phase one. Now, if you find somebody not guilty, you find that the state didn't prove their case, there is no phase two. Phase two is what's called the punishment phase. And there is only a phase two if someone is found guilty. Does everyone understand? So anyone who's charged with a criminal offense, they must make an election, a decision of if they were to be found guilty, who would they go to for punishment? It's the law. People can't say, well, you know what? I'm just going to see what happens with this jury, and then I'll make my decision. They have to make that decision before the jury trial. In this case, Mr. Wilson has decided if a jury were to found him guilty, he would come to the court for punishment. Does everyone understand? Is anybody going to hold it against Mr. Wilson because he's made an election to come to the court if he were found guilty? Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is the one witness rule. I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Do not, I repeat, do not add anything to my hypothetical. You have someone who's charged with a criminal case. The state brings in one witness. Maybe it's Mother Teresa. But this one witness I'm giving you, the one witness does not have a problem with their vision. They don't wear eyeglasses with me. They have perfect vision. They testify. They raise their hand. They swear they're going to tell the truth. You listen to them testify. You believe what they're saying. So that means there's no question with their credibility. You're not in your mind saying, well, maybe it was too dark. In this hypothetical, you don't have an issue with the witness's credibility. You believe them. There's no issue with what they saw. Does everyone have my hypothetical? The state questions them. That one witness proves the state's case, proves the date, proves Bexar County that it happened in this county. It proves the offense just through their testimony. Does everyone understand? Now, that's one witness. Hypothetically, let's say the state only has that one witness. Is there anyone here who would be unable to find someone guilty based upon that hypothetical that I've just given you? Okay, 72, you're raising your card. All right, 72. Right, and this is the other example that people always give you. Let's say you're leaving a parking garage, or you have to do a midnight run to a grocery store. You leave the grocery store, you go to the car, and it's only you and one other person. And that one person robs you. That's the evidence that one person robs you. Should the state say, we're going to let this matter go because that's only you and the person who you're saying did it? Or should the state say, you know what? We're going to file your case, we're going to go forward, and we're going to have a jury trial? Is there anyone here who thinks that just because there are only two people involved, the person who says they are a complainant and the person who they're said committed the offense, is there anyone here who thinks that those cases should be not tried? We should just say, too bad, so sad. Anyone who feels that way? So that is the reason why I asked you about the one witness rule. And remember, with the one witness rule, sometimes people will say, well, I don't believe that witness. Maybe their vision wasn't great. Just remember, in my hypothetical, there's no issue with that person's vision. There is no issue with their credibility. And when you have a person who is, if you have a case where there's one witness and you're asking yourself saying, well, I think it was too dark for them to have seen what they said they saw, then that means that you're questioning their credibility and you have an issue with their credibility. So in my hypothetical, those issues don't exist. Does everyone understand? All right. And 72, you still would need more? All right.
It seems like it would be accused of more than one person.
Okay. All right. And when the state and the defense ask you questions, they're going to need some yes or no answers. Because as you all know, this is a very serious case. And I know sometimes people will say, well, I don't know, I'm unsure. This is the example I would always tell people. Let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you're going to Vegas or wherever with your friends, and your partner says, oh yeah, have fun, honey, enjoy yourself. And as you're walking out the door to leave, they say, excuse me, honey. And you're like, yes. They're like, while you're in Vegas, are you going to cheat on me? And your answer to them is like, I don't know. So this is even more serious than that. So that's why the state and the defense, when they ask you questions, they're really going to need you a yes or no answer. And there is no answer that is incorrect. The good thing about being on juries is whatever answer you give is the correct answer. Everybody's going to make an A+. They just want your answer to be truthful. Next, I want to talk to people about the English language. I love languages. When I was in school, I was surrounded by so many people. Some people spoke 4 or 5 languages. I actually can say the word hurry up in every language because that's the only thing they taught me. And I said, well, that's sort of rude, but I know hurry up in almost every language. So is there anyone here and English is not your first language? All right, 33. Card number 47. Anyone else? All right, that's unusual. Usually we have a lot. Okay, so I'm going to test this theory about who needs to stand. Juror number 33. Yes. What is your language? Have you been able to understand everything?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you say hurry up in Spanish?
I'm sorry.
How do you say hurry up in Spanish?
Hurry up. Apúrate.
All right, thank you. That's correct. See, I'm putting people. All right, number 47. And what is your first language?
Spanish.
All right, so I'm going to have you grade her paper. This is where you can, fail. How do you say hurry up in Spanish? All right, so you know what? You get an A plus. She only gave me one version of it, so we're gonna put her at an A minus. All right, is there anyone here who has some sort of travel arrangements? Where you have booked your flight, they're non-refundable, you can't put me down as the person who will be taking the flight, anything of that nature? Or any other time constraints? All right, 23. No, just 1 second, I'm gonna call out the numbers and then I'll go. All right, so 19, 20. Oh, let me start over. And this is what I want to tell everybody. Once you're selected for this jury, you've passed the point where you can tell me, oh, I'm leaving tomorrow, because it will be, no, you're not leaving tomorrow. So if you have time constraints, you need to let everyone know. 7, once I call your number, please lower it. 14, 19, 20, 25, 31, 40, 43, 47, 54, 63, 64. All right, juror number 7, what's your time constraint?
So beginning of June, I'm traveling to visit my mother, and then in the middle of July, I will be visiting my friend's family in Michigan.
All right, are you going to help out your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not going to be a burden and have her cooking your favorite meals.
No, ma'am. I will be helping her.
All right, that always happens to me. My brothers are always like, Mom is going to be cooking because Stephanie's in town. Let's go over to her house. All right, so just so everybody know, I don't anticipate us being here in June.
Okay.
All right, number 14.
My mother, who lives in Houston, was just placed in the hospital a couple of days ago and had to have stents placed in her heart. So
Oh,
I may need to be traveling there, as she doesn't have any family in Houston.
all right. And when are you leaving?
I'm not sure yet. We're still waiting on a long-term prognosis to see if the stents are good enough, I guess. So we're still waiting here from the doctor.
We're going to say they're going to work.
Hopefully.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 19.
May 10th to May 13th. I have a business meeting. I'm out of town.
All right, and where's this business meeting?
Charlotte.
Are you guys going to just be in business, or are you guys going to tour and have fun too?
Going super early to tour for the meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. Number 20.
From May 20th through the 28th, I'll be visiting my in-laws in North Carolina.
All right. Do you get along with your in-laws? You want me to keep you here and say, hey, she's going to be here till June?
Very well, I get along very
All right, that's awesome. All right, 25.
I have a deadline at work today, and I have meetings pretty much every day for the foreseeable future.
What are you doing at work?
I'm a civil engineer. These meetings, they're like drainage related for the city, or for the city of San Antonio.
All right, we've been having problems with drainage for a long time, like right downtown since, since I've been here since 97. So y'all gonna be working on stuff downtown? What's happening?
Yeah, working on San Saba and Main and Soledad.
Okay. And what about the other neighborhoods that are flooding?
Yeah, I got some up in like Thousand Oaks area, Thousand Oaks, Wordsworth Parkway, Northeast San Antonio.
When is this going to happen? Or this is just like a dream that someday we're going to get this done? Or there's some concrete plan?
These are actually in construction. And then I have other like planning stuff that I got to do. That's may never happen. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You may want to give everybody your email. All right. 31.
I'm actually moving to Uvalde in June.
Oh, in June?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're not going to be here till June. I don't think so. Happy moving. Number 40.
May 30th and June 6th, I will be in Maryland for my daughter's graduation.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations. Thank you. 43.
Hi, it was the end of July, beginning of August.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh, hey. All right. Thank you. I'm always interested in everybody's travel plans. 47.
May 28th is the second.
Ah, everybody's jealous now. Should we keep her here? Everybody's saying yes. All right, number 54.
8th through the 17th of April.
Oh, what are you doing in California?
School in Whale Watch.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. 63.
I will be in Juror.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And are you leaving immediately? All right, thank you. 64.
Full medical appointments. That's 4 weeks. There's one tomorrow, and one 8%, and then
All right, and number 10.
I have an appointment, a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I have plans to leave on Sunday till Tuesday.
All right, what time is your doctor's appointment tomorrow?
It's at 2.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
23.
I'm leaving on May 10th. I'm gonna go babysit my granddaughter in McAllen.
And are you going to give them the same rules that you gave your children? Or are they going to be allowed to do whatever they want to do?
Easier.
Yeah. Here's cookie for breakfast. It's okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, number 11.
I have 3 doctor's appointment next week, starting Monday.
All right, thank you. That always happens. People see that the nobody's getting struck by lightning, then everybody's like, let me raise my card. 52.
We send the 19th to the 21st,
What are you doing in Houston?
celebrating my friend's 21st birthday.
Your friend's 21st birthday? You know, people, they have a 22nd. It's good. 21st, you know, they're like, oh, this is as great as I thought it would be. And then the 22nd is always better. All right, anyone else? Number 46. 46?
That's me.
Yes.
Unscheduled. Use for restrooms.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bladder infection.
No. State Defense, do you have any objection to 46 walking out to use the restroom?
No, ma'am.
All right, you may go out. Yes, you can leave. All right, number 4.
May 20th, graduation, and I'll be out of town 17th and 18th.
All right. 6.
I have a couple appointments this month. They're different dates.
What day?
No.
What's
I
the
don't know all the
earliest?
dates.
Sorry?
They're giving me all the dates. I know there's one Saturday next week, and there's Friday, and there's like about 6 of them I have.
All right, so
this
that's
month.
next week?
Well, throughout the month, they're giving me along.
No, but I mean, it's next week, it's not this week.
No.
All right, thank you. Number 16.
The 16th, I have an ultrasound. On the 30th, I have a follow-up appointment.
All right, thank you. 31.
I forgot, I have a dentist appointment on the 18th.
All right, thank you. Number 71.
Sure, really, but my company doesn't pay for taking off the jury duty, things like that. I have a staycation this week, starting tomorrow. So I'm not sure how long this trial might last, but I'm kind of the sole provider in my home, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a better idea how long this trial will last. Once I hear opening statement from the state, usually I can have an idea. Surprise, surprise, people don't realize this. When we go to a jury trial, I don't hear the case until you're actually hearing it as well. So I don't have any insider information. All right, so I want to tell you all 2 stories, both of them. I'm sorry, what's your number? Yes, 32.
Yes, Your Honor. I have 2 coming up appointments, one on the 12th and one on the 24th. Also, too, my son passed away less than 2 years ago, so I'm still going through a lot of the grieving process right now.
Okay.
I was hoping that would make.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to tell you all 2 stories. Both of them are true. I know that jury duty you know, everybody, sometimes you'd rather be doing something else. You know, there's construction downtown. We have so many one-ways downtown, which I don't know why downtown people think that giving one-ways makes traffic flow better when really it doesn't, because people will see a street. They're like, if I could just turn right here, I'm right here, but you have to go all the way around. So I know that it is an inconvenience to come downtown to pay for parking, to go downstairs, wait for you to be called upstairs. I realize that. But when you think about it, your country doesn't ask a lot of you. The only thing this country asks of you is jury duty and pay taxes. When you think about it, that is all this country asks of you. And everybody loves to say that the United States has the best justice system. Well, we can't have the best justice system and have jury trials if we don't have jurors. And I always tell jurors about my uncle. He's since passed, but my uncle grew up in a small town with my mom, of course, and his siblings in Grand Cane, Louisiana. Grand Cane, Louisiana in its heyday, I don't know, maybe it had like maybe 1,200 people or so. So my uncle was super intelligent and he would get skipped through school. And of course, when his sisters came up after him, because he was the oldest, all the teachers would say, hey, your brother, great student. So of course, that put a lot of pressure on them. So Vietnam War starts and he tells my grandmother, his mother, you know, I'm just going to go off and go ahead and go off to fight, because they were drafting all of the young boys in Grand Cane. And he said, there's nothing for me here. Nothing's going to happen with my career in the United States at this time with me just doing it this way. And so my grandmother had to sign to send him off to fight in a war, not knowing if he was going to come back because he was underage. So when you think about that and you think about coming down to jury duty, this is not that big of a deal to come down here. It's a big deal in the sense that there is the state, there's the defense, there's Mr. Wilson. They want you to fairly listen to the evidence and be 100% present. It's a big deal in that way, but the inconvenience of you coming down here doesn't compare to my grandmother having to sign for her firstborn child to go off and fight in Vietnam, not knowing if he's going to come back, and that's her firstborn and he's underage. Like, this government doesn't even ask you to vote, although I think everybody should vote, but they don't even ask that of you. All they ask is jury duty. And then once you do your jury duty, it's not like they're calling you up the very next year. All they ask is for that and taxes. The other story I'm going to tell you is about one of my friends from law school. She decided she wanted to do civil. I always wanted to do criminal because I had a passion for it. So we wouldn't get to see each other that much because usually on the criminal side, you're in court every day. You're in jury trial at least once a month. So she got called up for jury duty. And she said, Stephanie, let's get together and have lunch because I'm here for jury duty. I'm like, oh, great. So we have lunch, we sit down and we're talking. And I asked her, how is jury duty going? And she tells me it is going fabulous. Now, since I'm a judge, I'm thinking, how can it be fabulous? You're not in my court, you're not dealing with Stephanie Boyd, right? And she said, it's like when we're in law school. She's like, I'm not going to get selected. I'm in the back. I'm not saying anything. And I started laughing and she's like, what's funny? I'm like, well, it's not really funny, but we're going to have a great time this week. She's like, why? I said, because you're going to get selected for that jury. And guess what? At 5 p.m., I see her. I'm like, hey, are we having lunch this entire week? She's like, yes, we are. She's like, how did you know? I said, because the people who don't talk end up on the jury. Now, before I turn it over to the state, I have one more question for you all, because you all have got a chance to hear each other's voices, to see each other. Other than meeting downstairs for the first time, do any of you know each other? If you do, raise your card. That is so odd. Usually, okay, number 38 knows someone and there is not a corresponding card. So who doesn't want to admit they know number 38?
Yeah, we know each other.
All right, so who do you know? What's your number, sir? 25. Okay, number 38. Is number 25 really working on the drainage system?
Yes.
Okay. 65, who do you know?
Not sure, but I might know. Working at the city, I'm a civil engineer.
Okay. Is he working on the drainage?
I'm not on the same projects.
All right, so she's saying no. All right, number 56, who do you know?
Here's what I really don't believe in the justice system because I've been let down by it so many times. I think it's a joke.
All right, well, here's the thing. One, it's not a joke. Number two, the justice system is what we have. And when people say systems are a joke, I always tell people a system is as good as the people who are involved in it. If you treat it like a joke, it's going to be a joke. This is a very, wait, time out. This is a very serious case. Mr. Wilson wants a fair trial. Mr. Cox wants a fair trial for Mr. Wilson. The state's attorney wants a fair trial. Do you understand? Have a seat. All right, any other questions before I turn it over to the state? All right, with that being said, each side is going to speak to you and ask you questions. Remember to raise your cards if you have an answer for them or if you have a question. And remember, everyone who is not in the jury box or not on this first row, if you can stand when you answer, make sure you stand. State.
Thank you, Judge. All right, good morning. Morning. So y'all, I've already told you, my name is Lindsay Shaw. This is my partner, Daniel Escobar. We're both prosecutors. We work for this Texas, but more importantly, we work for Bexar County. And the judge said we're here today for an aggravated robbery case, and the defendant in this case is SANTUAN Wilson. So my job right now is kind of boring. I have to talk to y'all about the law because I have to go over the law and make sure that the 12 of you that are going to be on our jury understand what we are going to ask of you. And what we are going to ask of you is just to follow the law. So my job right now is to go through it and make sure that everyone understands or to get your thoughts and opinions on how you feel about the law, okay? So I'm not going to judge you. No one's going to judge you for anything that you say here today. Most likely, except for some of these civil engineers, you're never going to see each other again, right? So don't be scared to say what you think. And I'm not going to have a problem with anything that you say or with any opinion that you, okay? So the judge already said this as well. Right now, I can't talk about the facts of the case. I can only talk about the law, all right? And ultimately, after we go through this and y'all are going to be really talkative and tell me everything you think, the goal is to have 12 fair and impartial jurors to sit for this jury, okay? And so if I go over to juror number 56 really quickly, because of some personal experiences that you've had, do you think that you can set that aside and be a fair and impartial juror in this case? No, you cannot? Okay.
I didn't hear her.
Juror number 56 said no, she cannot. So aggravated robbery, what do we really mean by that? Like we hear that a lot, but what are we talking about? So before we talk about aggravated robbery, let's break it down. Let's start with robbery, right? So robbery, person commits an offense if in the course of committing theft and with intent to obtain or maintain control of the property. So basically we're saying a person committing a theft, right? They intentionally or knowingly threaten or place another person in fear of imminent bodily injury or death. So we have a theft plus placing someone in fear of imminent bodily injury or death. So that in Texas equals robbery. Does that make sense? So do you see the difference in robbery and just plain theft? Theft would just be part one in Texas. So if no one is placed in fear, say you see, a purse laying around and the lady who owns it stepped away to go to the bathroom and you steal her purse. Well, that's just theft because she was never placed in fear, right? Okay. So that's robbery. So now what is aggravated robbery? Well, it's robbery, right? Plus a deadly weapon. Everyone will be on the same page? So it's robbery plus a deadly weapon, all right? So now let's talk about the actual elements, the law that we have to prove in this trial, in this case, okay? So the two simple ones, the defendant, SANTUAN Wilson, and we know that this is Mr. Wilson. He introduced yourself to everyone this morning. That on or about June 23rd of 2018, and it's not up there, but we're talking about something that happened in Bexar County, right? In Bexar County. That while in the course of committing theft of property and with intent to obtain and maintain control of that property. So we already saw that, right? When we were talking about theft. He intentionally or knowingly threatened and placed Brianna Younger in fear of imminent bodily injury or death.
Donna, I'm gonna get, we approach, please.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Gentlemen of the jury, what I've told you before still stands. The law comes from the court. The law does not come from the state. It does not come from the defense. The state has to prove each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. Does everyone understand? So what the state is speaking to you about now are not the facts of this case. So with regards to this case being tried, the state would have to prove the identity of anybody that they're accusing. So if they were accusing Mr. Wilson, they would actually have to prove that at trial. So the fact that the state is saying, we know this is Mr. Wilson, no. What you know is that we are in a jury trial and this is jury selection. So the state will still have to prove each and every element of their case beyond a reasonable doubt. So they will have to prove the identity. And if they are stating that that person is Mr. Wilson, they would have to prove that. So you are to disregard the state making the statement that we already know that this is Mr. Wilson. Does everyone understand? Is there anyone here who cannot do that? Right. So remember, what is happening now is jury selection. So it is just going to be the state and potentially the defense who are going to be asking you some questions to see if you can be a fair and impartial juror for this case. So anything that the state is saying, I will give you the law, not the state, not the defense. Does everyone understand? All right, so.
Or actually, Judge, I guess I have to clear it up. Would you like me to go through and remove the name from every slide? Or can I
Yes.
just- May I have a couple of minutes, Judge?
Yes. No problem. All right, does anyone need a break?
Yeah.
All right, so what we'll do is we're going to take a short break. When one juror leaves, everyone has to leave together. You may leave your items where they are. So your items will be here. If you're leaving to go to the restroom, if you see the stairs on every floor, wherever you see the stairs, there's a restroom on either side of it. So if you see there's a long line, just follow the stairwell and you'll find restrooms on either side of the stairs. So I'm going to give you all a break and we're going to be back here at 11:40. All right, everyone, please rise. Thanks. Who's the prosecutor on your case?
Oh, I'm not even using that stuff.
What is he charged with? Is it family violence?
Yes.
Oh, you need to have the family violence prosecutor come down. Just go in the back and ask them to be called down.
One witness.
I'm talking about some case, but I guess there's a family violence.
And that won't come up.
I need one too.
Excuse me, juror, you need to wait outside.
Until 40, right?
Yes.
No, that was popcorn and it's John, that's funny. With the lemon. That's when I was looking at it, was started. Hey, what is that? Did you remember the pork crackling, all starving, all stepping on, all stroking on?
Get this out.
Good morning.
Yep.
Wait outside until everybody.
Sure they don't have it, Charles?
Opposite, they don't have it.
Did it get mailed?
No, if I recall correctly, you're. Yeah. I handed it to me, like, you're sure they weren't, and then I was like, let me check on my computer. This is it up.
Oh, hey, I'm glad you guys like them.
I don't know.
I just saw them and I said, this is something that Deputy Moore may like.
Oh, you want a second trim? I'm not dressed for it, otherwise.
My office is never.
Yes, may. I don't want to. There's something you don't want.
Hey, look on cases, that's one of those new red drops. Make sure.
Oh.
Make sure that's on dollars.
You find someone, start early. If you get started early. You ready to get out? Are you family balance?
Yes.
I mean, I'm glad they take yours.
Okay, yeah.
They look a little busy, so. Take mine. But we're probably going to take yours first. But it's not over.
Caroline, if you can give me the remaining files, I think, and where's, Joseph Acevedo?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jim, I have it in my office, and I would just turn this in, probably that we have it.
All right, let me see. Ms. Diaz? Mary Diaz? No, we're not on the record. All right, so on Diaz, you all have all the discovery?
Yes, Judge, the state gave us through an external hard drive, all the access, to all the things, we have that, so we just signed the discovery agreement that the court now has.
All right, and state, have you tendered an offer?
Yes. Well, I don't know if it's been on recently.
Could we get a plea deadline date?
All right, this is what I'm going to do. We are going to come back. We're going to come back on May 15th.
I will be out of town.
Are you here the week of the 8th?
That's it.
All right, so then we're going to come back on May 11th.
I'm not here on the 11th.
Mr. Toshi, will you be here?
Oh, it's in.
So is that a
Norma's-
yes?
It's in Norma's office. Yes, ma'am. I should be.
All right, so on May 11th, Ms. Diaz, you're going to need to be back here in court. Either Mr. Toshi or Mr. Bach will be here and state on May 11th, you need to make your offer to them. Because I don't remember if you're the attorney, because this case is very old. I don't remember if you're the person who made the offer or if it was another prosecutor.
There was a previous offer. Yeah, I will, I'll see if I can review it over, but that's probably.
All right, so an offer is going to be due on that day. And then we come back on May 11th. What I'm going to do is it's going to be a quick plea deadline date turnaround. And then after that, it'll be jury trial.
On the 11th, we're gonna get the offer, you give us another day to come back and say yay or nay. and
Yes.
After that, okay.
And Mr. Diaz, I'm sorry, Ms. Diaz, I'm giving your attorneys extra time because I know that they're finally able to open certain, I guess, discovery. So the offer is going to be on that date, but then it's going to be quick to trial because this is an old case. Caroline, could you give them a reset? May 11th. All right, and I'm going to need you all here on May 11th in the morning because I'm sure we'll be in jury trial.
I was like, oh. Okay. We've got an affidavit of non-prosecution.
Ma'am, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Excuse-
Yes, you are excused. Have a good one.
Hey, Jim, just,
I do.
Just give me one when you have next time I see you, Friday or something, and then I'll download everything on there for you. It's a lot. Or I can just, or I can have it, and or Stacy can put it on your server.
Yes.
So there's a.
If you could find it.
I don't think it's. I mean. One of them. There's no.
Okay.
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 Yeah, I know. No, you tell them that it's coming.
Okay.
If you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So what you all need to do, have your client sign the information and state, are you able to have your witnesses here then by, I was thinking two, but one. Is 2 o'clock okay for each party? Because then that'll give people a chance to have lunch and. All right. All right, and who was the juror? Can you mute us, please?
No, I'm just gonna speak as a chapter strategy. We'll talk about that.
And please just let them know that it's nothing against them.
Well, now I'm gonna tell them, you said it's again, now, I will.
We're not, it's not anything there. We-
I will.
They were very, you know,
Okay.
they're light and professional.
I will let them know.
Things happen.
Do you have that from St. Philip's for counseling? Yeah, I think Deputy Laura may have it. Deputy Laura, do you have that sheet of counseling? It's from St. Philip's. It should be in a file somewhere. Can you ask Hannah? If she does send us?
I'm sorry.
Yes. Let's see if she can email me.
ready.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, so everyone, in criminal law, both the state and the defense are entitled to a jury trial. Sometimes people think that the only person who's entitled to a jury trial is someone who's been accused, but the state is entitled to one as well. And then sometimes, the defense may ask for a bench trial, which would mean that the judge, which would be me, would try a case. But even though the defense may request that, it is not in my purview to approve it unless the state agrees that they want a bench trial as well, as opposed to a jury trial. And sometimes when people ask for bench trials, it has absolutely nothing to do with the jury pool. It's more or less that both parties have agreed that they think it would be best if the judge were to hear the case. So in this case, the state and defense have asked that I hear this in the form of a bench trial. So a bench trial is exactly like a jury trial. The only difference is instead of 12 people hearing the facts of the case, I will be the one who will be hearing it. I'll be the one who making the determination whether someone is credible or not. So in this case, both the state and the defense have requested that this be a bench trial instead of a jury trial. And it is absolutely nothing to do with any of the answers you've given. It's just both parties have been able to have a chance to think about it and discuss it and request it. What I can tell you is that a bench trial was not requested before today. So it's not as though your time has been wasted or people were not thinking about your time. It's just that this is the first time that it's been requested. And then once both sides request it, then I have the option or saying, no, I'm not doing that, or yes, I will. So I've told the parties that I would be willing to hear the case. So this case, the way it was going to proceed is that we were going to do jury selection in the morning. I was going to release you all for lunch, and then the state would have their witnesses here this afternoon. So the state is still going to call their witnesses this afternoon, and the court will still hear the case. So if any of you all would like to remain to hear what happens, we're going to be starting up with witnesses at 2 p.m. You're more than welcome. The court is open for you to hear that if you wish to hear that. What I want to let you know is there's a shortage of court reporters. I always tell people this after deliberations and after a verdict has been reached, but that we have a shortage of court reporters. Many of the court reporters cannot take vacation. The court reporter who's here now, she is not our regular court reporter. Our other court reporter is out for medical issues. So we had to find a court reporter to fill in for all of this week, and that's a lot of work. So if you know anyone who would like a career in the legal field, but they're like, nope, I don't want to go to law school. I don't want to do this, but I would love to hear what's going on in court. Court reporting is great for you. It is a lucrative job. People don't like, for sometimes court reporters like, don't tell them that, but it's true. Court reporters are usually the highest paid people in the courtroom. Sorry, I put that out there. So if you have a teenager who maybe is graduated from high school and they want to be a court reporter, they too can be a court reporter. If you're retired and you're sitting at home and you're like, my children are using me as their permanent babysitter, and this is not how thank you. She's like, yes. And this is not the way I wanted it to be. I just want to babysit now and again. You can tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I have another career. I'm a court reporter. When you see the closed captions at the Spurs game, that's a court reporter. Anytime you see closed captioning, court reporter does that. Sometimes court reporters, they're not in the courtroom. They're just there for depositions. Sometimes you have rovers. It's just call me if you need me. And they are paid, their salary if they are in a permanent court, but they also get paid extra when people request transcripts. They get paid by the page for that. Now, how long it takes you to be a court reporter really depends on you, because they must be accurate and they have to input so many words per minute. That's why I always say, please speak clearly so the court reporters can hear. If you're thinking about doing that, or you know someone who is doing that, St. Philip's College has an introductory course. It's free. It's not the full course. It's just for you to maybe fill it out to see if this is something that you're interested in doing. If it is something that you're interested in doing, or you know someone who's interested in doing, the machines are very expensive. How much are your machines? Yeah, they're 5,000. Before you say, oh my gosh, sticker shock, that's like that's more than a used car. When I got used car, it's like $600. You can't find that in the nickel ad anymore. But court reporters help each other. So sometimes they will have a machine that they're not using. They'll loan it to you until you get up and running, until you make money to afford your own machine. So St. Philip's College, if you check, let me see. Where is it? So if you check with St. Philip's College, they have different classes opening for the introductory course that's free. All right. So it has been awesome having you all here. Thank you so much for coming down. One or two things can happen. I can release you and you're done. Or either I can send you back down to the jury room and you can be selected on another jury. Now, here's the thing, you got to let that marinate. You can't just like immediately say, release us. All right. So if you want to be released, you can be released. Enjoy the Riverwalk. I'm always amazed that I don't think people look at their surroundings enough, because you're here. I try to travel a lot. And whenever I travel, Paris is one of my favorite places. And you see students walking around. I'm like, I wonder if they even see this Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, or they just like, whatever. And I see people doing that in San Antonio sometimes with the Riverwalk. They're like, it's just water and some birds and some snakes, whatever. But if you just really look, there is so much beauty that's downtown in San Antonio. You're already here. You're already paid for parking. You're going to get your parking validated, so you're not going to have to pay the full price. So enjoy, breathe, enjoy the day, buy a sandwich, sit on the Riverwalk. Don't feed the ducks, because they say don't feed the ducks, but watch the ducks. And beware of snakes, because there are some snakes in the river too. All right, what's going to end up happening? Deputy Mejia at the back, he has a white sheet of paper for you. There is enough for one for every person. Make sure you take that. And before you leave the courthouse, you're going to have to go back to the basement if you didn't do it before to get your parking validated. So you'll go back to the central jury room, get your parking validated, then you will be done. Does everyone understand? Any questions? Oh, please leave the expensive cards. It took us so much to make those. But and if I could have juror number 56 remain, please. All right, everyone, you are excused. Oh, yes, that's what I was talking about. Yes. Deputy Laura, if you could have juror number 56, right? Yes, I was talking about that form. Yes.
So no, he's gonna get this.
Okay. Okay, awesome. And if you have any of those court reporting things, okay, thank you. All right, could I see juror number 56, please? All right, thank you. Oh, come forward. Hello. Hi. So my understanding is you had a bad experience. All right. So was it an experience related to a case involving you or someone else? Okay. So, and was it here in Bexar County?
Yes.
And have you talked to the advocate about your experiences?
Great day, guys. Thank you, you too. Thank y'all for being here.
Guys, run.
Yeah.
I said run, guys.
I mean,
All right, so here's the thing. I can't give you any legal advice, but you can still call the district attorney or the advocate. What I can do is I can have one of the family violence prosecutors. Caroline, could you have one of the family violence prosecutors come down, Brittany? And if they can bring their advocate with them and have them speak with you, okay? All right, and then I'm going to give you this form.
Nice talk,
form is free
Nice talk.
counseling.
Okay, thank you.
And they will be able to give you some free counseling as well. All right, and then you can talk to them and tell them what your issue is and what happened. And then they'll let you know if there's something they can do about that. How old is your daughter now? Okay, all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them come down so they can talk to you. And I'll tell you, Mr. Cox said, Judge, I think there's something internally that's going on, so we're gonna have the advocate come down to talk to you. And then we're gonna have someone from family violence to come down and talk to you, and they'll let you know if there's anything that can be done at this point. But I do know with regards to sex cases involving children, there are no statute of limitations anymore. Okay, so they're gonna come down, they'll talk to you, and we'll see. Okay, all right, do you have any questions? You're welcome. All right, so if you'll just remain in the courtroom and they'll come down.
There's a lady in the front. Number.
Okay, thank you.
She's like one of the first
Yes, so but before he leaves, you all need to fill out the form. Yeah, there's a form for a bench trial. So we'll be back at 2